Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning, and today we've got another really interesting combo to run. A little bit older school of a choke. That's a very interesting design, but I have a feeling that this choke combined with the shells that we've got today are going to make for a very nice performing turkey combo. It may not be an absolute nasty baseball type pattern at 40, but this might just be about the perfect all around turkey hunting combination here. We'll see what happens, but I've definitely got decent hopes for it coming into it. But first, for the shells that I've got today, I brought out some more of these Winchester Longbeard XR loads. These ones being the 12 gauge, 3-inch, 1 3/4 ounce payload of 4s at about 1200 feet per second. This particular box was sent to us by Jack a good while back, so appreciate him for sending us a box of these. But we know what these can do. These can absolutely be some lights out nasty performers, but I'm really curious to see what they do through today's choke combo, especially with them being 4s. That may work out very nicely for us based on the constriction and stuff that we've got to work with today. Before our setup, I brought out my Remington 1187. This one's got a 28-inch barrel on it, and for the choke, we've got an old school Remington Turkey Extra full. This is a 687 constriction, so not overly tight, but this is a very interesting design choke. If you can tell right there where that sunlight is glaring, this is essentially one extra long flush choke. It doesn't actually get wider to where it sits flush to the end of the barrel like a lot of other chokes do. It is a flush choke diameter all the way out to the very end. I think this is the only choke I've ever ran across that has this design. Otherwise than that, it is a non-ported, straight up smooth 687 constriction inside. I believe these chokes were around in the 90s to early mid 2000s era, and we haven't tested it a ton, but in the times we have tested it, it's been a surprisingly good performer, especially with the little bit older Winchester shells like the Supreme loads. So we don't have a ton of constriction with this being 687, but we are also working with a lead 4, so that combination may work out very nicely together. I know the Longbeards usually do perfectly adequate through chokes in the 680s, maybe 690 or so range, so this is right there at it. I see no reason why it shouldn't work out and give us a nice pattern, but we'll see how good it can really do, since technically we've never tested a Longbeard XR shell through this choke yet. But I always love testing it. It's just interesting and weird enough that it scratches that part of my brain that, for whatever reason, even if this isn't the best choke out there, I just really enjoy testing it. Before today's test, we're running everything the same as usual. I've got the turkey target set up at 40 yards with the chrono to get our velocity. So let's get you guys a view of that target. We'll take our shot and see how the Longbeard 4s can do through this old Remington Turkey Extra full 687 constriction choke. It's an interesting design. I think the numbers should add up and give us a good pattern, but let's take our shot and see how good it actually does. Alright, that shell gave us 1224 through the chrono. We have a boss claim of 1200 with our 28-inch barrel with a little bit of extra choke out of the end. We're right there at where we typically are and what we should be seeing. So looking good here for velocities, but let's go check out our pattern because I think we got some pretty nasty results down there. All right, well then, here we are down at our 40-yard paper, and this combo is nasty. I thought when I kind of put these two together that it might make for a good pairing, having a 687 that's essentially one extra long flush choke, maybe a little bit smoother of a transition and a constriction down, and those being a Longbeard number 4. I know how nasty those shells can get. I thought it may work out in our favor, but I didn't think we were going to see quite this tight of a pattern. This might legitimately be down in the too tight pattern type of range for a lot of people. This is a straight up field combination, which is not something you would expect out of a 687 constriction choke, but clearly it worked out phenomenal for us. That bird is toast. There's nowhere he can move to and get through that pattern. These are a lead 4, so easily 50, 55, maybe even 60 yard capable as far as terminal performance goes. Pattern wise, you could easily push that to 50 yards, I'm saying, and probably a little farther than that too if you wanted to or needed to for whatever reason. But if you're inside of 40 with that, I mean, you can already see how few pellets we have around the turkey target. That paper is 12 inches inches wide, and you're going to have a screaming pattern at 30 yards and in for sure. One thing that choke is usually good at is giving us nice even spreads. It's not typically one to throw an absolute baseball of a pattern quite like this. So this was a little surprising. I expected us to see a little bit more broad pattern, but a nice even circular spread. We got the nice even circular spread, but it's a lot tighter than what I expected to see. I mean, even flyers, we really don't have very many of them. There's two kind of down here at the bottom right, with one that's definitely a flyer over there on the right edge, but everything else is tucked right up along the edge of the turkey target there, and there's not very many of them. Most of your shot is right there through that bird's head and neck area. So that's impressive, no question about it. We've seen patterns like this before, mainly from the 3.5-inch Longbeard 4s, but clearly this is one of those just magical combinations that is a deadly performer. Now we really got to try the Longbeard 5s and 6s through that combo and see if this trend continues. A little bit smaller shot size, may prefer a little more choke than what the 687 can give us, but it's worth a shot for sure. After seeing this kind of a result, this might be a good cattle field type of combination where you can walk edges of fence rows and find turkeys out in a cow field somewhere. That might do it. So impressive with the turkey target up, but let's pull it down. I'll draw some circles and count pellets, and we'll see just how nasty this pattern is, because I think we're going to have pretty much everything within our 20-inch circle at 40 yards. All right, so now we got our turkey target out of the way, and yep, it is the same story here. This is a nasty performance. You've got a tight core to work with, and you run out of leeway pretty quickly. Within our 10-inch circle core, there's 136 pellets. That's the majority of our load right there. Nice hot central core area. Nowhere a turkey's going to be able to move through that. That's impressive for sure. Outside of that, with our 20-inch leeway ring, we pick up an additional 75 pellets within there, but it starts to get pretty thin pretty quick as we get farther and farther to the outer edges of that 20-inch ring. And even outside of that, we have so few pellets outside of the 20-inch ring that I counted them, and it gave us 12. We have 12 pellets outside of a 20-inch circle at 40 yards. That's impressive, no question about it. Nice even spread, no major flyers except maybe that one at the bottom right is the most egregious one. The rest of them are all pretty close to that 20-inch ring as far as the ones go that are outside of it. So that pattern pretty well speaks for itself. I don't know that we're going to be able to get that kind of performance with the 5s or 6s. A little smaller shot size, may not have enough constriction for them here with this being a 687, but this is a combo that would absolutely work. For me, probably still a little bit too tight unless I'm hunting very specific situations. So maybe something like the 5s or 6s in this choke might actually open our pattern up to be that perfect spread we're looking for. Definitely worth a test, especially after seeing this for sure. I thought we would see a nice even spread, maybe, 90, 100 pellets in the core with 100 or so more of them in the outer 20-inch ring. Little more broad and even spread, but I didn't really expect to see that much of a condensed area of shot right through the core. So nice looking performance. Sometimes the old school stuff can still absolutely work, and we know we've got a good shell and choke combo. Putting two together, you would think it would work out this way, and it doesn't always happen, but today it certainly did. Impressive results. I don't think any of us can complain about how that combo performed right there. And here's the wad out of that shell. Typical Winchester equipment here. Nothing fancy, but it looks perfectly fine. No major damage or anything to it. That choke isn't overly tight. Doesn't have porting, steps, straight rifling, nothing like that in there. So the wad clearly did its job just fine for us today, and everything put together gave us a nasty performance. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that result right there? I thought we'd see a nice pattern. I thought it was going to be a nice even spread, nice round circular pattern, give us nice coverage through the middle and stuff like that, be a perfectly adequate 40-yard combo that's about the perfect hunting spread. And although we technically did get that, this way outperformed what I thought it would. It's way tighter than what I thought it would be, especially right in the core. A little bit of an extended, essentially flush choke. That's a 687 constriction. You wouldn't imagine can get a tight pattern like that with as hot of a core as we saw there. But clearly, if you pick the right combination of stuff and put them together, you can absolutely get some devastating patterns. Lead 4s can be very finicky at times. The Longbeard loads generally make up for that deficiency, but even then, usually the Longbeard 4s either get a nice nasty core and blow the edges open, or they're just a little bit more broad across the board while still being a perfectly adequate combo. But here, I mean, That's impressive. We have 12 pellets outside of a 20-inch circle at 40 yards. That is a 40-plus yard combination. I would hate to see what it looks like inside of 30 yards, yet alone inside of 20. If you had a bird pop his head over the ridge in front of you at 10 to 15 yards, you're shooting a slug at him for sure. And I have a feeling that even at 20, 25 yards, your pattern is going to be either a baseball or a softball. Like, you're not going to have a ton of leeway to work with. So if you got a lot of wide open timber, or if you're hopping from field to field, like I mentioned earlier, hunting fence rows on cow fields or something, that might be a good combination for you, surprisingly enough. You can still find these chokes on eBay. They're not overly expensive. I think this one was 24 bucks or something like that. So for a mid $20 choke and a $26 or $27 box of shells, it's a simple combination that is a nasty performer. So it's always nice to see these surprisingly devastating combinations. A lot of times we have an idea on what something's going to do coming into it. I thought we'd see a good pattern, but sometimes you just hit these magical combinations like this. It's always fun to get them when you do. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is this about what you expected? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any Longbeard 4s through one of those old Remington Turkey Extra full chokes? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is this a combo you would run? Or is it a little too tight for you? Or is this exactly what you're looking for in your pattern? And if it is something you would run, would you feel comfortable with it at 20 yards, or would you rather have your birds out at 40, 45 yards or so? And of course, what other combos do you want to see us run with either putting those shells through other chokes, or what other shells do you want to see through that Remington 687? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.